From me.
I do too. Are we ready?
We are good to go.
Here we go.
All right, David. I can't talk to her.
Well, Mars, I got to go on the air now. I'm
Please
going to
do.
lead you guys.
Figure the text.
Are we on the air?
We are on the air.
Oh my God! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the In Wheel Time radio program here from the studios, from a studio. Let me just leave it at that. So we welcome you and thank you very much for joining us on this live In Wheel Time broadcast on many platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. We are Houston's most awarded #1 weekly car talk show. Today, we're going to talk to Angelica Brothers from Hagerty. We're going to talk about collector and antique insurance. We're going to talk to Randy Borcherding from Paint House. Now, these are all proposed interviews that we're going to do because we have been working for, 45 minutes trying to get all this on. Anyway, in our new car showroom, we will have that for you. A review of the Lexus LS 350F Sport. You'll hear our weekly Ram Tracks and Jeep Trails features as long as we can get Mr. ADD Mike Mars involved, along with this week's automotive news. That and more just ahead on today's 2-hour In Wheel Time car show for Saturday, April 18th, 2020. Howdy, along with Mike, out of this world Mars, right there, and King Conrad. D.
Wrap it around the back. There we go. Now we're back. Wrap it around the back of Sling Studio so it doesn't hang on the bottom. There you go. Now we're working.
Don't touch it.
We have an audio cable that's in the process of failing that we'll have to get a new one for.
Yeah, so I was going to say that, so Mr. Mars comes in with a great, big, huge Amazon.com package. I pull out all this stuff, and it's got cables and connectors and all this stuff. So I try my best. Jeff Zekin's head is in the shot, but that's okay, Jeff. Go ahead. Stick it back in there. Last week we had David Ainsley's butt crack, and this week we need your bald head, sir. Come on, put it in. Come on in here. Poke your head in. Let's all see you, because he's hiding around the corner now.
He's sitting at your desk. He's got the big screen in front of him.
Anyway, so he's here.
But I think he's watching HGTV instead of listening to us.
Now, that might be the best thing for everybody to do is listen to HGTV. This has been a real adventure. Are we going to get Angelica on the air? Or are you still working on that?
I'm hoping that you're going to turn her up here in a minute.
Well, okay. Well, it's going to be a surprise because I'm not going to turn her on just yet because I thought that what we would do is we kind of lead into her. And then if she's not able to be joining us on the Sling Studio, then I am going to still continue to read this kind of an introduction from autonews.com. For some collectors, we're talking about collector cars, real ones, not some sort of Matchbox thing. For some collectors, an ideal time to trade, wheel, and deal might be now. What?
Really?
Where all these people out of work, and you wouldn't think so. Car sales are down across America. Factories are shut down. So here's part of the story. As coronavirus cases surpass 2 million worldwide, the auto industry has experienced an upheaval radical enough to permanently alter the trajectory of modern transportation as we know it. Auto prices across the board have fallen 10% in recent weeks, according to Manheim, which is owned by Cox Automotive. Used vehicle sales in March fell 64%. Manufacturers have postponed important debuts and switched factory production lines over to make medical equipment. Classic car collecting has seen its share of upheaval, too. Aside from Pebble Beach, every prestigious car event has been canceled or postponed, including the annual Goodwood Festivals, the Greenwich Concours, and Gooding and Company's Passion of Lifetime auction, which I've never heard of, etc., etc. David Gooding, Gooding and Company founder and president, says he has closed multiple private sales of several extremely high-dollar cars that he hadn't expected to sell at all. The auction house has done more and better private sales in the last few weeks than it would have during any typical springtime, including one private transaction that would amount to a world record price for that type of pre-war vehicle. The sale happened privately, it's presumed, since no public auctions were happening anyway. He noted that shifting priorities among collectors, some downsizing from cars that don't matter as much as they used to others are purchasing cars that they realize matter to them more than ever, has created a dynamic, even exciting new playing field eagerly being navigated by discerning collectors. Meanwhile, across the country, in Los Angeles, a neighbor chasing an older Lotus Evora from a seller here in Texas just to have something fun to drive. Must be nice to have money. While he stays isolated, awaiting delayed delivery of a Porsche Cayman GT4. His black Ferrari sits undriven in the shared parking lot. As he says, you can't eat filet mignon every day.
Oh my gosh, it must be rough, right? You got to switch to lobster every
Who
other
are
day,
these
right?
people? They're clearly not watching this program, are they? The website that sells vintage cars online in weekly auctions has followed suit after a brief stop or drop in sales during the second week of March. The online car seller has seen web traffic and sales surge. It's bizarre. So joining us now from Haggerty Insurance is Angelica Brothers. Angelica, hi.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, we can actually hear you and everything. It's
You
good.
can?
Yes, we can, and it's good to see you. How have you been?
I've been good. I got sick for a little while, but I'm a lot better now, so I'm appreciating.
You didn't have coronavirus, did you?
No, please. No.
Not officially, no.
Okay.
But
So,
I think I did, but you never know.
Well,
I didn't
w-
get tested for it.
well, good. Well, we're glad that you're online with us today, and we really appreciate you taking the time. As always, it's so good to see you. You know, the last time I saw you was in passing at Houston
Yes.
Autorama, and
Yes.
you were going to be parked next to us, and then all of a sudden, boom, you weren't
I
there.
disappeared.
Yeah, you disappeared.
You moved away from us.
You know what though? I contacted Steve from Autorama, and I'm going to be telling him that I need to be next to you guys next time.
Absolutely.
Works for us.
Priority.
Because that's how we met you originally, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So anyway, back to the story that we did. Apparently, car collecting, for those that are, well-heeled enough to be able to afford expensive cars, apparently it's doing well, but it's not in collector car auctions that maybe perhaps like a Mecum or something that's on television that we can watch. So this is all kind of behind the scenes going on. And so I guess my question to you is since you're in touch with all of those kind of folks buying that kind of insurance for collector cars, have you seen the same thing going on?
Yes, I've seen it from clients. A lot of also the influencers that we have, like dealerships that only deal with collector cars. They're seeing a lot of business come through. They're buying a lot of cars. A lot of people are selling cars for a good price because they may need to, get cash flow going, and they're selling very well. People are realizing that they're good investments, not just the market, but if you have a car that can go up in value and you can sell it, it's a great investment. So a lot of activity going on.
It's one of the craziest things I think that I have really just got to know this week with this story. Because you would think that with the country pretty much being shut down and everybody hibernating in their own homes,
Yes.
I guess that those that are fortunate enough to have enough money to wheel and deal, that's what they're doing, as opposed to learning how to knit some sort of a new little head thing or whatever it is that they're going,
mask.
a mask or whatever it is, or learning how to clip their toenails in a different way.
Clip their toenails in a different
Well, it's better
way.
than giving yourself a haircut.
You have been quarantined way too long.
Well, actually, just kind of as a sideline to that, I actually watched a video of a man that was like me in need of a haircut, and he had a pair of sheep shears.
Saw that.
Oh, I saw that.
And he was
that
actually
funny.
cutting his own hair with the sheep shears. I thought, well, I guess if it gets bad enough, you could use that. You got to be, really adept with ingenuity to be able to do that without a mirror. But he was up there, and actually it didn't. Actually, it looked pretty bad.
It looked really bad.
It looked really bad, to be honest with you. But so anyway, what do you think about how is car insurance changing because of the COVID virus?
Well, at least for us, we've had to get really creative now that we can't be out in public going to the shows, which I miss dearly. So I love going on the weekends and talking to people. So we're just doing a lot of direct outreach, calling clients, staying in touch with, you guys or dealerships or everybody that refers his business. We just have to get really creative, but we're also focusing on, people have more time to be at home, and now they're working on their project car that they've been neglecting for a while.
So one of the questions that I have for you is that we've seen this across the auto insurance industry, and Allstate, which is who I have my insurance through.
And I've got mine with Amica, and my daughter has hers with AAA.
Because nobody's driving, that they're offering some sort of a rebate or some sort of a discount now that nobody's driving.
Right.
Does that really affect Hagerty?
It doesn't, just because our prices are so low already as they are.
Yeah, but you also have a limited mileage allowance based on the car in the agreement. So as long as people aren't expanding past that, that's part of why your rates are as good as they are.
Exactly.
And one of the other
Plus, if you do get out, I've seen a lot of groups on Facebook, which I think is great. They get together, stay away from each other, don't get out of your car, but they go on drives. So a lot of our clients are still using those cars to get out when they can. So they're still taking advantage of it on nice days and that kind of stuff. So at this point, it's not going to affect us directly.
Yeah.
And one of the
But
things
it is nice of the insurance companies to be sending you money back.
Oh, absolutely. But one of the things you mentioned is now that more people are at home, there's more people working on their project cars.
Right.
And that's one of the beautiful things about Hagerty is you have what I call project car insurance. It's not just the car that's on the road. You'll insure the project car as well as the tools and all the parts you got stacked up in your trunk because while you're building your project.
In the garage or in your storage unit, wherever they're.
So tell us a little bit more about that, because that's a pretty cool feature.
That's one of my favorite endorsements that we have. So if you have a shell of a car that's not worth a whole lot, you can still insure it. Like you said, we're going to cover the parts. We're going to cover the tools as well, which is super important. And you're only paying for comprehensive coverage. So if your car gets flooded or if it catches on fire, if it's stolen, all of those things are going to be covered, but the price is very minimal because you're not paying for liability, uninsured motorist, and the rest of it. So it's great coverage. A lot of people think they can't have it unless the car is running, but that's not true. You can add it to your Hagerty policy. You can have a Hagerty policy by itself. And I think now that so many people are working on their cars because they have time, it's a great time to call and find out how you can get that covered.
Well, and I've got Hagerty on my Oldsmobile Rally 350. I know Don has Hagerty on his Corvette as well, and it's a great policy at a very, very fair price. The only thing is the limitations on the mileage, but I don't drive the car as a daily driver, so the limitations on the mileage are really not an issue for me at all.
No, and we have those limitations, but we know that we have clients that may want to take a long trip in the car, or they may want to participate in an event that requires that you drive a little bit more than you usually would, and that's totally fine. So if you have to do those sort of things, we don't limit you as far as that goes.
So Angelica, right now a lot of people aren't driving like we've been talking about, but what is Hagerty? Don't you have some new things coming out that Hagerty's created?
Yes. So if you have, and I don't know if I can share my screen, but something really exciting that we have, especially for this time that we're spending a lot of time at home, we've created a community within the Haggerty website. So you can join. You don't have to have insurance with us. You don't have to be a Haggerty member and have the roadside assistance. You can, of course, if you'd like to. We'd love for you to be a member, but you can join the community. And you tell me, Mike, I will share my screen here. If you can see it.
There it is.
Yeah, we can see us. Yeah, there we go.
Right. I'm getting really good at Zoom now. I'm very impressed with myself.
You're impressing us as well.
I can click on a button that says share screen. So you can post. I know I've met so many people that have great stories about how they got the car or why they got a particular car. You can come on the Haggerty website to the community section of it, and you can post your story. So everybody who's here can read it. They can, sometimes they're featured somewhere else. So you can definitely share that with us. If you're into one particular type of car, you can search for that. Like, I know Don is a big fan of the Corvair, so you can search for Corvair articles.
I think that the word, I think that the real word is was. That's
was.
I think he's gotten over that.
Don is a fan of the core, whether it's a vet or a Vair. Because if he was a fan of the vet, it would be a Corvette or a Chevette.
The Chevette. Oh my God!
There's a car from the past.
So let me.
We'll go with that.
So let me ask you: is it possible for you to insure a Chevette if there are any left outside of a junkyard? I guess that's the answer.
Does it live outside of the junkyard?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Home to your garage? Yes.
Oh my God.
But if it stays out there, probably not.
One of our followers on social media was asking, how does Haggerty value project cars?
So we have a minimum value that you have to at least start with to start the policy. And then it goes up gradually every 3 months automatically, so that if you forget to call us because you put in, another $2,000 worth of work, to answer the question is when you call us, we help you figure it out by either what you paid or what kind of values we have on our Haggerty price guide, which is accessible online for all of you guys. That's how we figure it out. But it does go up gradually, or if you call us every time you finish a certain section of that project and you say I need to add this much more, we just go ahead and do it.
Hey, can you
And
unshare?
eventually, once the project is complete, we get to the final valuation, which we also help you figure out. All of our underwriters are able to do that for you.
Can you unshare your screen and we can get back to you instead of your website? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But that's better. Well, one of the things I noticed as well as that project grows, typically as you're building a car, your build increases in value along the way. And I understand the Haggerty policy gives you the option, or I think it's part of the policy, that as you complete the car, the value continues to grow along the way as well. So if I bought a $2,000 70 model W30 442 convertible, and if I could find one, I would for $2,000. But in the process of building it, by the time I'm finished, it's a $100,000 car. And the Haggerty policy would grow in proportion to that, correct?
That's right. That's right. So it'll do it automatically, or you can call us and update it yourself if you know how much a certain section of that project has cost. You can do that as well, but the policy will increase automatically.
That's a beautiful thing. That really is pretty cool because it really meets the needs of the car enthusiast who is having a project car that he bought basically to salvage yard and keeps throwing money at.
Like a Chevette.
Well, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you, the collectible one is going to be the Chevette diesel because they actually made a diesel Chevette.
Yes, they did. I remember that.
Oh, Lord.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Well.
but you had to get a running start at a speed bump because if you rolled up to the speed bump and then tried to accelerate over it, it wouldn't.
Well, because it weighed 10,000 pounds in the front end. Angelica, it's great to talk to you. Great to see you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time. Let's touch base again a little bit sooner this time as opposed to at Autorama at Thanksgiving.
Yes, I'll see you before then. Thanks for having me on. I've been wanting to touch base with you guys, so this was great.
Okay.
And it's Haggerty.com, correct?
Haggerty.com. That's it.
We love you. Thank you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Angelica Brothers. And so if you see us waving fanatically, frantically, because Mars, you see, isn't looking at me, and he is looking the other way, and I'm trying to get his attention, and it's just kind of a strange setup that we have here. But I wanted to tell everybody that we have in the works, it's coming soon, and I don't want to paint ourselves in a corner, but coming soon.
We're already in a corner.
Kind of, sort of.
Corner
we're
of
not
your,
using
corner
the
of your kitchen.
But we're not painting it, are we? But I did want to mention to you for the first time that we're working on Studio A. And so, I'm sorry?
You had a girlfriend named Chevette? George said you had a girlfriend named Chevette.
He had a girlfriend last weekend named Izetta.
Just checking. Is there a pattern here we need to... Anyway.
You know, it's amazing how...
Moving on.
It's amazing how the train leaves the tracks more frequently than we really would like to have.
And George seems to be driving that train today, right? He was last week.
I love you, George. Thank you so much for watching, I think. Anyway, so we've got coming up a review. Mr. Mars is going to attempt to do that. A review of the Lexus ES 350 F Sport, if I'm not mistaken. Am I
Yes, sir.
mistaken?
That's it.
It's okay. So we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to have Mr. Mars do the review as soon as Don Armstrong can get his act together over here and play what he had scheduled to play for you. So let's see if that'll work. Shall we do that?
Give it a shot.
Okay, here we go.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering
Thanks for joining us. We apologize for in wheel time. I should have just said it. Thanks for joining us. Just say
Yeah, just
we
thanks
apologize.
for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah, we apologize. We apologize
In
for
advance.
everything. Yeah.
Those who know us already know that we're sorry.
Well, remember all of my marriages? I lived all of those many years. I'm sorry, and I apologize.
And
So,
it did you absolutely
No
no
good.
whatsoever.
All right, time now for today's car review. Mr. Mars had a chance to drive the Lexus ES 350 Sport. Go.
Yeah, it did. Drove it for a week and drove it for over 300 miles. And what we're really talking about here is a mid-sized luxury sedan vehicle. Front-wheel drive. It's Lexus through and through as far as the luxury goes. Now, this vehicle was new in 2019, so for 2020, they've made a few little tweaks on it. And we happen to have the F Sport package on top of that. Now, this is the performance kind of a group that Lexus is putting on some of their vehicles. And you're going to find that styling-wise, it's got that fastback roofline that a lot of the sedans have these days. The wheels are pushed back to the corners. It's got that large Lexus grille up front, whether you like it or not. That's where it is. LED lighting package all the way around. And it's got some unique F Sport bumpers on it that kind of gives it a little bit different look to go along with the F Sport rear spoiler. It's got power side mirrors, 19-inch, optional 19-inch F Sport only wheels. So it's a real nice little package there to give it a little performance look for that luxury vehicle. Now you get on the inside, again, this is pure Lexus. Got leather seating surfaces, and it's got some F Sport aluminum trim to give it that kind of performance look around it. It's got heated, ventilated front seats. It's got an 8-inch color screen color touchscreen center stack, and that's where you're going to find all your convenience controls, your Apple, Android, your Lexus infotainment system, and the Lexus multimedia. It's all controlled right there, easy to reach, easy to see. Now, it's also got, for the driver, a 10-inch heads-up display that's color. Got a lot of information on that. I really liked the way they had that laid out. It was very easy to see even in bright daylight. Now, this vehicle also had the optional Mark Levinson audio system with 10 speakers in it. Now, this is 1,800 watts in this 5-passenger car. So you talk about...
Wait.
1,800
Hold on
watts.
just a moment. Stop there. 1,800 watts.
That's what I wrote down.
Are you sure it's not 180?
No, it's probably 1,800.
Well,
1,800.
now you're going to make me look.
No,
and I
I-
broke my glasses, and I don't have my magnifying glass. No, it's 1,800. What I say? I said 1,800,
You
right?
did, yeah.
It's 1,800. That's what I said.
That
1,800.
It make your ears bleed.
The windows bulge when you go down the road. Boom, boom, boom. It kind of
My
vibrates
God.
back and forth. So it will fill that little vehicle up. And speaking of filling it up, it's got 16.7 cubic feet of trunk space, which in a vehicle this size, I mean, again, we're talking
Sufficient.
mid-size, it's very sufficient. And the great thing is the deck lid opens up really high. You don't be bumping your head. I hate bumping my head on the deck lid. Now, to make all this go, you got a 3.5-liter V6 up underneath the hood. It does produce 302 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque, and it's backed by an 8-speed automatic. Now, again, this is Lexus is known for their luxury. They're trying to make a little sport out of it. It's got more than ample power, but I would have preferred a little more juice for a sport sedan. They really still call it a luxury sedan. I'm with that. But if you really want to bring in the sport, you got to have a little more juice to it. Now, the EPA says you should be looking for about 22 miles per gallon in the city, 31 on the highway, combined 25. Now, we had a great week with this vehicle, and we did put some miles on it, over 300 miles, and we got right at 24 was our average for the week. And I was very happy with that. And again, one of the things as far as driving it goes, the F Sport brings in 2 different drive modes. You can get the Sport S, the Sport Plus S and the Sport S Plus. And what it does, it changes the dynamics of the suspension. It kind of tightens everything up, particularly going into the curves. But it really doesn't do anything for the engine and transmission. And this is where I really think if you want to get into that sports sedan segment, then you're going to have a little more juice, a little more driving
So
experience.
this is kind of like that Camry TRD that I drove.
Same thing. It looks real sporty.
And they've goosed up the suspension on it, but they did nothing with the engine.
Yeah, it needs a little more juice if you really want to step into that
Well,
category.
if you're going to name it a TRD or you're going to name it a sport, come on, man.
Exactly.
Sport it up.
and
Put
then-
a supercharger on it. Put a turbo on it.
Yeah. And when you start comparing this, if you're looking at this vehicle versus some other ones, you could look at an Acura TLX, starts at about $33,000, or a Genesis G80 that starts at $42,000. But if you really want to look into a sports sedan world and get into those German sports sedans, you're bumping up in the 70s and 80s real easy. So price-wise, you need to stay in here with these. And performance-wise, I think you're going to be comparable as well. So a base Lexus ES 350 with the F Sport package starts at $44,835. And we had about $6,000 worth of options on the vehicle we were driving. And so the base MSRP as tested was $51,890 for a nice luxury sedan that's got a nice sports sedan look to it. If you're really, though, looking for that really serious sports sedan driving experience,
There may be other choices.
there may be other choices. But if you want something that just looks cool and drives nice, you need to look at this one.
You know, if you're wondering what I'm doing over here,
No, I'm not. I hate to ask.
at least it's behind the desk and you can't
And
see
under
that
the
part
counter.
of it, and under the counter. But the Suze is here.
Yes.
And so I thought
That's your beagle.
Somebody had said you need to put Suze on the show. So okay.
Well, here she goes. Susie's about to get on the show. Come on up here, Susie.
Ba-da-ba-bum.
Say hi to the crowd.
Just don't. Here, wait. Here, come here. Oh, there she is.
Don't drop her, Don. We'll get PETA after us.
No, I wouldn't. So this is the Suze. This is the show mascot right here. So here she is.
I thought I was the show mascot.
You know, Yeah, I have many thoughts about that I can't really share because we try desperately to make this a G-rated show, at least a PG-rated
Susie
show.
looks like she's so thrilled she's yawning.
So at any rate, all right.
You're a good dog.
So at any rate, the Suze is here and she's really in charge. All right. I'd like to remind you that you can watch or listen to this In Wheel Time Car Show broadcast on Periscope, Facebook, In Wheel Time, YouTube, and let's see, Spotify, Twitter.
Pinterest? No, we're not on Pinterest.
That'd be Twitter.
That'd be
That
no, that's Instagram.
Instagram, Stitcher, iTunes. We got all that. We got all that, Mars?
Yes, sir.
You're lying.
I'm not lying.
Okay. Hey, if you got a question or comment, you can shoot us an email, info@inwheeltime.com, or through a Facebook page. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues after this quick break, and we hope that you'll stay with us.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so we should all stay home to lower the risk for everyone. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're on the weekly award-winning car talk show In Wheel Time, and coming up this half hour, a Ram Tracks feature and the stories making automotive news headlines, along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you joining us today. Thank you. Our chief engineer, Mr. David Ainsley, has gone out of the way to
Find lights for us so he can.
Not only that, but I mean, he comes over and is our savior every week. This is the third savior he's saving routine that he has been through in the past 3 weeks, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Jeff Zekin is here for moral support and to,
I thought it was for comic support.
and to point and make fun, and we always need to have that just to keep us on our toes. Okay, so we have with us right now from Houston Chevelle Club, Mr. Eric Christie. Eric, you there?
I am here.
Hey, man, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's great to see you. And we want to talk to you about some of your collection that we have been teased about. And I think that from what I understand that you are going to show us some of the things that you have over there. Hold on. As soon as Conrad...
I got him.
Okay, he's got him. Yeah. There he is right there. Okay, so now that you're on with us, Conrad gets distracted along with Mars. And I feel like I'm kind of the ADD crossing guard here. So between Mars and Conrad...
I thought it was the anal retentive crossing guard. Eric, I wanted to, while we were getting online, I wanted to share with, the Chevelle clubs that I'm members of on social media. So kind of invited a bunch of them to kind of watch your presentation as well.
Presentation? Do you have a presentation for us? This show is not about presentation. So I just wanted to make you feel comfortable and let you feel at home there in your, is that your garage that we're looking at?
Yeah. Yeah, I have about 40 slides if we can go through that real quick.
Okay, well, we could do that because basically the show is yours. We want to know, first of all, about the Houston Chevelle Club. Has it been around a while? Apparently so.
We've been around, gosh, man, it's probably been more than 10 years. I've been in it that long myself. And there was of course members in it at that time. And so now we've grown a little bit. There still have the core group of members that we meet on usually the second Sunday of each month. We had been meeting at Clay's Restaurant on Clay Road near Highway 6, but of course with the environment that we're in right now, that of course has since changed. So we've actually moved like everybody else, to an online format. So we do a Zoom meeting on the second Sunday and get people to join. We participate in car shows. We help folks out with things that are Chevelle related or just Chevrolet related. We have other vehicles in the club that we have some Pontiacs and some trucks and some Corvettes and things like that. So we originally a Chevelle club specifically, but we wanted to attract more people. So we just kept the name and just started allowing other folks to get in there. But we do have a Facebook page, which is you can do a search for Houston Chevelle Club. And of course, if you like it, then you get to follow what's on the feed and members get to contribute to it.
Nice. So I see it. There's a hood up back there on a silver car that's got the black stripes on it.
It's got to be a 70 to a 72. I can't tell from the angle.
It's a 70 Chevelle. It's a my wife bought it for me for my 40th birthday.
Nice wife.
She's a car fan as well, and it's a 70 Cortez Silver, black interior. Came with a 454 and a 3-speed transmission or 3-speed automatic. I've since rebuilt the engine twice now.
Why did you rebuild it twice? Because you blew it up once, or what?
Well, the first one wasn't had a bad piston ring.
Okay.
Not too long after I bought it, but you have to keep in mind that I drive my cars hard, and so sometimes you tend to pay the price for that.
Now, is this a 396?
No, he said 454.
Oh, 454.
Originally, it's a 496 now, so it's a Borden stroke 454. Put a 4-speed automatic transmission from Century Transmission in it, which is probably the best modification I've done on the car.
Is it a 700 based automatic?
200 R4.
Okay. So you get the lower fourth gear than you do on the 700.
Yep.
You get a little
first
more
gear
fuel.
real low as well, so it comes off the line pretty well. It's either 2,800 RPM stall in it. So once you get that RPM up, it leaps off the line. And then the engine is basically, when I built it, was built for torque, not horsepower. So it's a lot more fun around town, but it's a big block. You spin it up to 6,000 RPM, kind of on your own there when you get to the valve float portion of the drivetrain.
Do you take it to the drag strip?
I have borrowed a set of drag radials from one of our club members that was riding on 8-inch rims, but I had a real tough time hooking it up off the line. But best I ran was 12.5, I believe, 12.54.
Yeah.
At like 117.
So do you take it out on the weekends, or do you just sit there with the hood up and admire your work?
Yeah, I just come out here, sit, grab a drink. And it hasn't been out for a while. I can flip the camera around, let you look at it.
Well, we want to see it.
Yeah.
Love to.
Suspension installed. Put new brakes. You see how to flip the camera around.
I like that.
This works.
Yeah.
There you go.
That works.
Did that work?
Well, it did for a moment.
Yeah, it did.
There we go.
So now we're looking at.
There you go.
There you go. So was this originally an LS5 454?
I don't really know.
But it wasn't the LS. It wasn't the LS6.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I would not be tearing it up like this.
Yeah.
Are you working on the brakes or front suspension while you got the wheel off?
Everything. So this is the brakes off a Z06.
Okay. So the 4-piston brakes.
And then I have some autocross style adjustable shocks.
Tubular upper control arms, lowers as well.
A lot of stuff was done to it.
Nice.
Same with the rear end. We got it was basically a kit from Skibitsky Classic and Custom. Comes with springs and lower control arms, really good sized lower control arms. I'm in the process of bleeding the brakes right now.
We want to come over
been
and
on the road for a while.
we want to come over and work on it with you once we can get past all this COVID stuff.
My stuff's never that clean.
Nor is your garage.
Yeah, it's a little dirt. It's a little dusty.
No. We're talking,
my garage.
We're talking about Mars' garage, not yours. Yours is you could eat off the floor.
No lie.
No. I just swept. That was all.
Oh, that is okay. Well, it's good.
Well, that's good enough for me. What are we eating?
Yeah, right.
So I also see you've got vintage air on it.
I do.
And you kind of need that in Houston.
What is that? Ooh, what is
There's
that?
your El Camino.
Yeah, this was my dad's daily driver for 31 years, and when he passed away, I took it. And he had two cars. He had a '68 Le Mans. My brother has that, and I took his Chevelle. And my wife wanted me to repaint it, put a new engine in it, so she could take it to car shows too. And we both be driving one, and we were taking the seats out, and my foot went through the floor right back here.
Yeah, that can
And
be
we
a
found out
problem.
that all of this was rotted all the way to the toe board, all the way back behind the cab. And so we ripped out the floor, put a new floor in it, the whole thing, all the way from the firewall to the rear axle.
Did you do that yourself?
No, I don't have those skills. So I worked with a company called Smithy Customs.
Okay.
He's a car guy too. He started up his company a couple years ago. Mine was the first vehicle that he took into a shop to do all the sheet metal work, and he's a whiz at it. But he's since grown. He's got like a dozen guys working for him now. But at that time, it was just Justin Smith at the time.
What is that? What is that motor wrapped in plastic there?
That's the next thing. So we wanted, a little bit. Didn't want carburation because it's, can be a little bit finicky and it doesn't agree with the gasoline around here. But
right.
So we went with a
LS
base transplant. So this is actually an LQ4. So it's a 6-liter that came out of a truck. So it's got the iron block aluminum heads.
The cathedral port heads as well.
Well, I managed to lay my hands on a set of LS3 heads.
Okay.
And so that's what's actually on it. And it's got a little bit sportier hydraulic lifter cam. We're expecting it to be probably around in the 500 horsepower, 510 or so in the torque. But again, it's built as a street motor and not as a high horsepower drag race motor.
So
the transmission in it is a 4L80.
Okay.
Which came out of the truck, the 2500 series truck it came with. And so right now it's waiting on the rest of the body work to be completed. So wrapped it in plastic, keep bugs and moisture and stuff out of it. And we know that at some point it's going to go back to one of our club members. His name is Chris Milton. He's doing the body work on it. He's done an amazing amount of work on this thing, and it looks super, super straight.
Well, one of the nice things about doing the LS conversions is that a number of people sell plug-and-play computer systems where all you got to do is, basically plug the computer in and use the existing sensors and stuff that are on it. So they've really made it easy for the resto modders to throw an LS and a 4L80E or any of the E transmissions GM.
When do you hope to get this thing finished?
Well, this one's been going on for a long time, so I know that Chris works on it on the weekends and when he has time and things like that. So I haven't really put a rush on him. We just talked about, hey, I just buy the supplies when he needs it, and he works on it. Well, the next step is he's finishing up the tailgate and the hood, and then once that's done, he's going to get the body back and he's going to finish out the bed. Then we'll fit all the panels, do one more final fit check, and then it's off to paint.
So what year El Camino is that?
It's a 65.
Oh, how
nice.
cool. The square body.
Yeah.
65. Oh, my gosh.
But after that, it takes a lot of time to do all the trim work and things like that. But we'll get it rolling one of these days.
Well, that's not a 65 dash you got in it, though.
Well, that's the original dash that's in there. That series, they were metal. Later, they became plastic and vinyl.
Okay.
So we'll probably replace the dash cluster with, something like a Dakota or Autometer or something like that.
Yeah.
Some upgrade.
Do you know what color you're going to paint it?
Well, that interesting question. I've asked my wife about it a couple of times.
Whatever she wants.
Well, she had picked the color out, and then just recently she said, I don't know if I want to do that now. Okay.
Yeah, don't buy the paint until you get ready.
Yeah, I said, you got until the thing is finished, body-wise and primer. I said, and then you pick the color. If you don't do it, then I will.
Just to kind of the opposite color combination that you've got there on the Chevelle would be nice. Black with some nice silver stripes. Just saying.
Yeah, kind of a contrasty type.
And they
reverse
and matching.
Yeah.
Well, the original color was desert sand. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was kind of kind of a brown.
Yeah,
Not a bronzy.
Not a big fan.
Yeah.
It's one of those you go, why?
Yeah, well, yeah. But
Yeah,
at any rate,
there's the last one.
Yeah. This is the other one you were talking about.
Yeah, this is my one owner 93 Pontiac Formula. I bought this one new back in the day. Actually went to a dealership in Edna, Texas and ordered it.
Edna, Texas. I've been to Edna, Texas.
I dated a girl by the name of Edna once. That's about as close as I'll ever get to it. But
Edna, Texas used to have a Chevrolet Oldsmobile Frigidaire dealer. Honestly, that the Chevy Oldsmobile dealer also sold Frigidaires on the showroom floor. I walked in there one time, talked to them about a car they were having issues with.
Took a refrigerator home.
No, but it's the father is the dealer. The wife was working in the office. The son was in the shop. I helped him fix that car and left. And my office called looking for me. And they talked to him about it. Said, yeah, he was here, but I don't think he's ever coming back.
oh Lord,
Sorry, we wander off. We shiny
we-
things.
Squirrel.
yeah. This is the ADD. This is the ADD network here. I've discovered that in the past few weeks. So we really appreciate you taking the time to.
We have a question for you, Eric.
Oh, we do?
Beautiful collection.
Okay.
Wait just a minute.
The El Camino.
Hold on. Here,
Hang on.
put that headset on there. So now that I can, Jeff Zekin has a question for you. Go ahead, Jeff.
The project that we're seeing on YouTube. How long have those projects taken? I might have missed it. You might have said it, but because we're doing some other things in the background. How long did it take to get to that stage, and what's your anticipation of finishing those projects?
The El Camino.
The brake work, stuff like that, probably within the next month or two. I just have in the process of bleeding the brake lines, I found one that's leaking, so I think it's at the fitting. But one of the part that I need, of course, is on back order. And so waiting on that. But once I get that done, get the brakes bled, then it's putting wheels and tires on it, roll it over to the alignment shop, and should be okay to run the roads at that point.
Be ready to go for the summer.
So the totality from start concept project to driving it down the road, like you say, is how long?
The brake install stuff, I did run into a lot of issues because, when you're trying to add new stuff to old stuff, things don't always fit right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if I was working on it continuously, it would probably be about 60, 80 hours, I bet.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But you're trying to get it finished so when we're out of quarantine and we can start going back to meets and stuff, you can take it out.
Be
for a
ready to
spin.
cruise.
Yeah, the El Camino is a lot longer. We started this process in 2013, I think. So
7 years.
it sat for a long time. Unfortunately, we had a guy that was going to work on it, and then he bailed. And then somebody else said they'd work on it, and then they bailed. And then I'm left with a car that was in pieces by that time. And Justin Smith was the savior, and he said, man, I'll bring my trailer over there. I said, I'll pick everything up and we'll put it back together and we'll finish it. And he did.
Well, Eric, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us today. Great collection of cars. Let's get you back on, and when you get ready to work on that El Camino, let us know so we can get in there and work on it with you on a 2-hour stretch of a Saturday. And heck, you never know, one of us might come over there and help you.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
All right, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Eric Christie with the Houston Chevelle Club. We really do appreciate him. And we appreciate you joining us today here on In Wheel Time, the car show. And we're going to take a quick break and back here with more of our show right after this.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
All right, it's the In Wheel Time program, the car show, every Saturday, noon to 2, here on every kind of social media network that you could possibly think of. I mean, I guess that there are other ones, but that pretty much says it all there behind us. Huh?
We're on all the important ones.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. That's what you say. All right, time now for our Ram Tracks feature. It's In Wheel Time's weekly look into the Ram Nation. Mr. Mars?
One of the great things that Ram Trucks has done, particularly in their luxury models, is you notice how quiet the cabin is. Now, there's a lot of things that go into that, and that includes the glass, noise-canceling glass. It's got some extra insulation in it, extra insulation in the door panels and everything. But one of the things that they've done on their 2500, they actually have an electronically controlled frame-mounted. I guess it's like a
better get this right
because
we're all sitting on the edge of our seat waiting for this to come out.
That vibration dampener.
It's an active noise cancellation device. Okay. Now I've seen it with the body off the frame, and it looks like this, just like a little container there, and you kind of wonder what it is. Looks like it might hold some fluid or something like that, but it actually works with the computer.
Blinker fluid.
Yeah, that's it. Needs some can of blinker fluid in it.
I knew that. I finally got it right.
So it works with the computer, and it creates kind of a contrasting vibration to noise cancel. And
vibrations are a cycle, and if you looked at them on an oscilloscope, you can see that cycle, the above center line and below center line.
Right.
So that device sends a counter wave
to cancel out that noise.
To cancel that out and flatten the line
out. And you put that with all the noise-canceling glass and everything, and that's part of how that 2500 can get so quiet inside that cab area, where it used to, years ago, if you got into a 3/4-ton truck, you heard everything that went on.
You're in a 3/4-ton truck.
That's
now
right.
You're in a luxury vehicle.
That's right. And this is part of what gives you that sensation of being in there, and it's really cool.
I have to tell you that I have had the opportunity to drive a couple of half-ton pickup trucks, actually 3 of them to be exact, in the past couple of months. And I personally, if I were going to buy a pickup truck, it would be a Ram. People ask me, hey, well, what would you buy? You know, I'd buy a Ram. That's the bottom line.
You need to quit hanging out in New York with that accent.
And I got some.
That's from somebody that's from New York.
And Conrad and I have some friends that, I mean, they're.
You don't have any
very
friends.
brand. I have at least one, and they're very brand specific because of their work history and things, and so they've got this certain built-in loyalty to that particular brand because they built their life off of it, but yet you put them in a new Ram truck, and they'll tell you that if it wasn't for this thing that they've been working on for 20, 30 years,
Larry.
That's exactly right. Well, that's exactly. I mean, he has no problem with it. It's just he has this penchant for GMs because that's where he made his living.
But the cool thing about the Ram is the size of the screen inside, and you guys.
That's an option. The 12-inch screen.
As long as I've listened, you guys talk about the Uconnect being the most user-friendly driver interface system in the industry. Period. Nothing comes close.
We're not even going to get started on what I'm driving out there now. It took me 20 minutes to figure out how to use the radio.
Oh, listen.
And I'm
There's a song there somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we got to automotive news, and Conrad was interested in this, and I think that you will be too, so stay with us.
If Baby could talk, she'd say a lot. You'd know what she's thinking and what makes her happy. But unfortunately, Baby can't talk or remind you. You're the one taking her to daycare today, and she won't speak up if you drive straight to work like any other day and never think to look in the backseat. Every year, dozens of kids die from heat stroke in cars. No one is perfect, so set a reminder and always look before you lock. Where's Baby? Paid for by NHTSA.
Hello, we're back. Except what, Mike?
Never mind.
Okay, good. I won't. So welcome back to the In Wheel Time car show. Here, our live broadcast every Saturday from noon until 2. Time now for stories making automotive news headlines this week. And these are stories that we get from autonews.com, and they're not complete. I edit them, so I just kind of here and there. But AutoNation, the nation's largest new vehicle retailer, is offering 25% off service work to all customers through the month of April, hoping to help people financially impacted during the coronavirus outbreak. Retailer, which on April 1st launched the deal that includes parts and labor, shared a video of the promotion on Twitter this past Monday. The company also has information about the offer on its website. Auto retailers from the largest companies to smaller dealerships are rolling out promotions aimed at helping customers and their businesses during the coronavirus pandemic. With service driving a significant portion of dealership revenue and profits, some stores are offering service discounts to essential workers or deferrals on service work for a certain time period. Spokesman said the service discount is unique in that it covers all service work and labor and items typically excluded from major promotions, such as a single tire. AutoNation on its website said there is a $500 maximum discount available at stores in Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, Texas, and Washington. Company limits the discount to 1 coupon per vehicle and said taxes, shop supplies, battery fees, and hazardous waste fees where applicable are extra. Collision work is excluded. But
And
that's a big deal.
There are 16 AutoNation locations here in Houston. 2 of them are AutoNation USA, which is kind of their used car operation, and they can service and maintain anything. The thing that makes me excited about it is all of the BG services are included in this promotion that AutoNation's running right now as well.
25%. That's huge.
That's a huge discount. That is
Yeah.
a significant discount for anybody to go in and get some service work done.
Volkswagen Credit will waive up to 6 months of payments, up to $750 per month for qualified customers who purchase a new vehicle and lose their job because of the coronavirus outbreak. To qualify, the customer must have lost their job in the first 90 days of ownership because of economic reasons and must be collecting unemployment, blah, 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 blah. Customers also must have been employed full-time at least 12 consecutive months, but they're helping out. That's the bottom line. And, you know, if you find yourself in that predicament, needing a car, I would suggest that you search it out, because there are lots and lots of deals and special promotions out there. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what kind of a car would you recommend that I get? Well, when somebody asked me that question, I've been doing this for a long time. Somebody asked me that question. I said, what do you need, and what turns you on, and how much money do you want to spend? Those are the 3 things.
Exactly. And how long do you want to own it?
And for most people, I don't think that they really know going into buying a new car. But the number one thing is that you got to like the car. Because if something goes wrong with the car and you don't like the car,
depending on how long you financed it for, it may be a few years before you can get out from underneath it.
Yeah, it's just not a good thing. So the most important thing, what do you like? Right. Within your price range. And obviously, for most people, that really kind of narrows the field down. And there are car makers across the globe that have cars that are available for you to buy here in the United States. And if you do your homework, and it's not that difficult to find out what other people think of the cars that actually own them. And if they get a bad review, move on. Right. Go to something else.
And a lot of the manufacturers right now during the coronavirus pandemic are making it easier for people to buy cars, because they are actually offering 0% interest for 7 years, and they'll waive the first 3 to 6 months worth of payments. So they are actively trying to keep ultimately their businesses alive by selling vehicles.
That is absolutely frightening.
It
to
is.
know that you're going to have a car payment for 7 years, I'll be dead in 7 years.
And it may be you may not see an equity position in that car until the middle of year 5.
You won't.
The middle of year 5, maybe early 6, you'll see an equity position.
I believe if you go in and do an amortization schedule on it, I don't believe you will ever see an equity position on that car.
But you got a low payment forever.
That's right. And maybe, if you're lucky, 0 interest.
Well, no, it is. Yeah, lots of them are advertising 0 interest. Hey, give a shout out to Jeff Heitzman, our audio engineer on Facebook. And
actually, he's a critic.
No, he's not.
There's the engineer right there. Jeff, we love you, and we appreciate all that you do in keeping us in line.
Candace
but
Sneed.
it is impossible to do, as you
Dale
tell me.
Holquist is listening. Well, Randy Weldon, he's been listening since the beginning. So.
Listening?
Well,
He
watching
was
us
watching.
on
Well,
Facebook.
he was at he's on with the Mustang Club of America board type thing.
The
They
national board.
Yeah, the national board. They had a meeting this morning, and he said he heard a story about one lady in Florida that literally sold her Mustang so that she could use the proceeds to pay her employees because of all this stuff.
Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a pretty big sacrifice for a Mustang owner to make.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the top of the hour, and time to start hour number 2. And I was going to play a nice public service announcement. But you know what? I'm not going to do that, because when we do that, it runs us behind. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And had I gotten my act together while we were discussing all of this, and while I was doing headlines, I wouldn't have to fumble around over here and get the actual open of the show ready to go. But now that it's ready, we'll just go ahead and do that now. It is hour number 2 of Houston's #1 weekly award-winning car talk show, In Wheel Time. We are all things automotive, just like the sign says. Just ahead, we're going to talk to Randy Borcherding at Paint Shop. We're going to have our Jeep Trails feature, talk with John Gray at Gulf Coast Auto Shield, and bring you the stories making auto news headlines this week, this hour. It's all just ahead on the In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, April 18th. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And all of our usual watchers, fans, people that join us, they're online now. And we invite you to join us as well. Well, I guess that if you're seeing us, you have already joined us. So forget that last comment.
And if you have already joined us, go ahead and share it on your Facebook feed and see if we can get a few more people to join in. Hey, John Forty, how you doing?
Okay. So at any rate, do we have Randy?
Working on it.
Oh, we're working on that.
So
okay.
we'll wander off somewhere else.
Well,
until you get
there
it.
was something else that I wanted to bring up, and that is, this is a story that was sent to me by Ellen Ford at Womply.com, which is a PR firm. And I thought it was pretty interesting. I get a lot of these things throughout the week, and most of them I just toss in the garbage. But the COVID-19 effect on local businesses across the U.S., we've got some data here, and we drilled it down to automotive. And I thought that some of the information here was pretty interesting. Auto parts and shop supply and supply shops. Weekly revenue at local auto parts and supply businesses down 32% year over year. Last week was the worst revenues of 2020. 9% have stopped transacting entirely. In other words, they don't have any business. Auto repair and maintenance. Weekly review of local auto repair and maintenance business down 41% year over year. Auto wash and detail, and we'll talk to John Gray here shortly. Weekly revenues down 48%. Gas stations, sales down 48%. Tire services down 39%. Weekly revenue at the local towing and roadside assistance business is down 47%. How do you survive? Because you got bills to pay.
Well,
that's
the struggle.
That is the struggle.
You know, nobody's on the road. Nobody's putting miles on their car. Nobody's even really, a lot of people aren't paying attention to their car, so they're not bringing it in to get it serviced, maintained, or washed. So all of those businesses are struggling. The hope is, as we turn the corner, and if you listen to Greg Abbott yesterday, that corner is turning for us as well, that and everybody starts going back to work. They'll have to get back out and get all that caught up on their cars. You know, there's a reason to buy local, and as we go forward with this, buying local is going to be even more important.
In addition to the analysis of settled card transaction data, data science team occasionally surveys small business owners for qualitative insights. They polled 2,300 business owners and asked them how long their business would stay solvent if sales stopped entirely. This is interesting. Key findings, 21% said their business would last less than 30 days if sales stopped. 55% said they'd have less than 90 days. 57% said a major slowdown in sales would be extremely damaging to their business versus 47% for economic recession. Transaction analysis shows that some categories are getting very close to sales stopping altogether. People are at home. They're not doing anything.
And
liquor sales up 23%.
There you go.
Yeah.
And-
Jeff Zekin just passed us that note. And, that doesn't surprise me coming from Jeff, because Jeff is actually the reason for the 23%. Now, is that over at Specs, or is that Total Wine? Any and all.
Right.
All of the above.
And if you're in Colorado, Michigan, California,
It's the pot shop.
weed sales are way up.
Weed sales.
And gummies and edibles and all of the rest of it.
You seem to know.
I read about it.
You
all the
read
time.
about it. You're that student in school that always managed to cut the corner just a little bit. I read about the weed sales. Just saying. Were you still trying to get Randy? Okay. So FCA, which is Fiat Chrysler
America
Automobiles, recalling it's automobiles.
Okay, I was going to give them America.
Well, they're not America, and they won't be America ever, especially with this PSA thing that they've got working.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So Fiat Chrysler Automobiles is recalling more than 425,000 vehicles because windshield wiper arms may loosen and not properly function. Well, if they're loose, they're not going to function very well. Recall vehicles are mostly in the U.S. According to a statement from FCA, they are the 2019 to 2020 Jeep Compass crossovers, the 19 to 20 Ram 1500 pickups, including the Ram 1500 Classic, produced before March 3rd. Loose wipers may not clear the windshield completely, or the wiper arms may not return fully to rest position after deactivation. The fix calls for dealerships to tighten the wiper nuts.
Tighten your nuts.
It was not immediately clear which company supplied the windshield wiper that did have a loose nut, but I guess that they've had them cut off. Sorry.
Yeah, but as long as
I just had to go there.
As long as the car has a sunroof, kind of like Laurel and Hardy, Stan can pop up out of the sunroof with a squeegee and keep the windshield clean while you're driving down the road in the rain.
Nobody knows who Laurel and Hardy is anymore. only old gray-haired
Us
people.
gray-haired guys do, right?
Laurel
Well,
and
Jeff
Hardy.
doesn't have any hair, but he's got his hand up in the air.
Again, the wheels fall off a lot on this. So I have come across a show. I may have mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Cletus McFarland. He's got a YouTube channel like we do. Have you watched Cletus McFarland?
Yes.
I know. I asked him that.
He forgets to take his medicine sometimes.
What medicine?
See?
Yeah. All right. So at any rate, I encourage you to check him out, Cletus McFarland. He's got like 2 million followers, and he puts up some.
We have an
interesting-
international person watching us online.
That's good.
Adrian Espinoza in Monterrey, Mexico is watching.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. So we're now going to join, in progress, some sort of a demonstration by Randy Borcherding. I believe that he can hear us. Randy, can you hear us?
Oh, I got you guys. What's up?
Well, what's up? What are you doing there? You need to really make sure that camera looks at what it is that you're moving your hand across, because it looks kind of weird when you don't point the camera straight down.
Well, that could be your interpretation.
Yes, and it is. But it's good to see you, man. How you been?
I'm good, guys. How are y'all?
Good. Are we over at Paint Shop?
We are standing in
Paint
front
house.
of the paint house.
Okay, very nice. So, what are you rubbing on back there?
This is the hood for that 65 Corvette.
Ooh, that 60. Oh, I see. Yes, I see that.
And this is your custom color, correct?
This is Randy Apple Red 3, one of our colors, yes.
Randy Apple Red 3. You know you're a paint specialist when you name the paint after yourself.
Or you have a weird sense of humor.
Well, we know that you do that, first of all, because you're talking to us, because, if you didn't, you wouldn't be talking to us.
Right.
Yeah. So how have you been? This is a 65. Is this a customer car or yours?
It is not ours. I have kids. I don't have cars.
Gotcha. Yep. We know that. I got that.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat.
It is a customer's car. We're doing the paint job on it, and then someone else is doing the assembly and the final craftsmanship.
That's kind of strange, isn't it? Does that happen very often?
No, I'd say it's relatively normal, and quite honestly, we like it because they come and they go, and they don't live here for years.
Well, and your specialty being paint and body work is depend on the people, the subject matter experts for that part of the car, and that's why you build such beautiful cars.
It is what we've, I guess, become known for, if that's the right way to say it.
Yes.
But we do build the entire project as well.
Yes, and I have to say that Randy builds some of the finest automobiles that I have ever seen. I know that there are other guys that are on TV. Dave Kindig comes to mind, Bitchin' Rides. He does some beautiful work, but I would put yours right up against his any day.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm not sure I deserve that comment, but
after winning 2019 SEMA Truck of the Year, I think you might have earned that accolade.
Well, it wasn't me. It was me and the guys.
No, that's true.
Them.
We'll give you credit.
Okay, so let's take a little tour of the shop. You know, this is the first time I've been over there, and
even though he's not there.
So tell us about what you got in the shop. I see a Porsche there.
There's a little Porsche. This is just a quick touch up on the door.
Okay.
But I'll give you a little snapshot. This got a really interesting little.
Oh, there's a huge turbocharger there.
No, that's air cooled, buddy.
That's the air cool, but it's got the big twin carbs. What are those? I can't tell.
It's fuel injected.
Is it
fuel injected?
Yeah, it's a mid '70s RSR, I believe.
Oh wow! So it's the hot rod of its day.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. It's been up. It's been upped.
Upped, so to speak.
This is hard to do facing the phone.
Well, you can switch the view to the other side. We don't need to see you.
Do that.
Okay.
Teach me.
And can you turn the camera so we can get a landscape view? It shows us bigger picture. No.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, much better. Now we can see you and the car. Thank you. And those muscles. And your logo right there.
Only Conrad would notice the muscles. Just saying.
So
hey.
This has got the supercharged Terminator motor. Came in the 0304 Cobra Mustangs.
Nice.
And then we did a custom set of wheels that are kind of interesting.
Now, what is this?
And
a Mustang we're looking
what kind
at?
of car is it?
This is a '70 Cougar convertible.
Oh,
Cougar. You never see those.
Spin around there. Maybe you can get a better view of it this way. It's kind of hard to see on the lift.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can tell.
Yeah.
Love those old Cougars.
Over this way,
we all love our
this is a
Cougars.
Ring Brothers Mustang that came in for some repair. Guy lives in here in Houston that owns it.
Beautiful car.
Cool little car.
Convertible
is
too,
a
huh?
55 Chevy. And
Yeah.
that is a completely new body.
Seriously?
All new metal?
There's a company called Real Deal Steel down in Florida, and that's a completely new sheet metal body.
What is it? Has it got a new frame under it too?
It has an Art Morrison independent front, independent rear
God.
chassis.
Is that the frame
And
Is that the frame you picked up when you dropped off the Chevy truck?
Yes.
'Cause
And then this is
Oh.
the LT4, the modern LT4 with the 8-speed automatic. It ought to be a good one.
That's the supercharged Corvette engine.
Yes. I think it's 760 on the horsepower stock.
That'll do.
Oh my
That'll
gosh,
do.
that is absolutely. So, what is the timeline on finishing that car? It looks like it's getting close to, maybe getting a skim coat on it or something.
Well, we're still fitting the gaps. We're dealing with all this, the fitment in these areas.
Yep.
This is always an awkward area in these cars where these three panels come together. So just making everything fit right in metal before you ever put any body filler or primer on it.
So, how long is it going to take you to get the fitment right? You think?
We're still a couple weeks away, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of these cars, these bodies, and all these aftermarket parts. They're good starting points. That's all they are.
Gotcha.
But
and they don't purport to be anything else. So, you know what? I drove down to Florida, or actually I flew, to look at the body before we bought it, and and felt like it was a good enough starting point. So we ordered one, and we waited 6 months for it.
Oh, wow. So in fitting the car, tell me if I'm correct in this, you start from the quarter panel, move to the door, move to the fender, move to the hood. Is that correct?
Correct. You go from the back to the front. The quarter panel's fixed. So more or less you make everything fit it.
Work around it because it's not, you can't move it.
You can't adjust the quarter panels, but
Well, not easily anyway. You can make the door fit the quarter, and then you make the fender fit the door, and the hood fit between the fenders, and you just work your way forward.
Yeah, piece by piece.
So that's why it's so time consuming, because every time you adjust this, you got to go back and adjust that.
Absolutely. One thing affects another, and it becomes a perfect storm of sometimes frustration.
Kind of a dog chasing its tail sometimes because you keep going around in circles.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see what's behind me on this one. I'll move a little bit. So this 67 Corvette.
Oh, I hadn't seen that one with the Stinger hood.
Yeah. This one came in, it was damaged.
Look at that.
A fellow bought it at Barrett-Jackson and had it home and ended up in an accident, just cosmetic, and it did a bunch of damage, but he's okay, and the car's got to get fixed.
And is that another one of your custom colors?
No, this is a candy color, which we will most likely replace it with one of ours that are not candies, but they have that same look.
So it's going to get a complete redo on the paint.
Correct.
Wow. It sure is a
We'll
pretty
have to
paint.
repaint the whole car.
That's gorgeous.
It's got, you can't really see it in the camera. It's got cracks all over it from the impact it took when it finally wrecked.
Wow.
You can see here the wheels and the lip on this one.
Oh, yeah.
He hit something pretty hard. So anyway, it'll get fixed. It's what we do.
So what is the timeline on all those cars that you got? What's the next one going out the door done?
Probably the Vet here.
Yeah.
Simply because it's almost done. It's a paint job. I'm in the middle of polishing it. Once that's done, then it can go to the builder and he can finish it.
Got you. Wow.
It's on the chassis now. I'll see if I can lift
Lift the skirt up there a little bit so we can see it.
Let us look underneath.
It's got the modern LS7
Ooh.
drivetrain.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Dry sump, 6-speed automatic. It's an aftermarket chassis as well. It'll be a fun car.
No doubt. Now, did it come in there under its own power?
No, it came to us on a body dolly, so to speak, so we could roll it around and do the body work, but the chassis wasn't under it yet.
Hello, Dolly, huh? What a beautiful car.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it looks. I've never been to your shop, and one of these days, I keep saying this, but I want to come out there. Now that I've seen this, I definitely want to come out there and bring you some Mike's Jersey subs or something.
Yeah, do please.
Randy,
this is the paint booth where
the magic happens.
It's the paint house, literally.
Yeah.
In there is where it happens, so to speak.
Do you do the spraying yourself?
I do. I'm the painter.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the mix room.
Ooh, the mix room.
Yeah, the magical, mystical mix room.
Yeah, this is where all the chemistry happens. Up on the wall here, you can see renderings of other former projects, current projects.
Who does the renderings for you?
It's a combination of people. A lot of these were done by Eric Brockmeyer. He's a really known artist in the custom car world, and Tavis Highlander. We've used him a couple times recently. They're all very talented.
I mean, that's a skill. Now, when you build a car for a customer, let's say your Chevy truck you wanted SEMA, do all of those renderings also go with the vehicle to the customer, or do you keep them for yourself?
No, they're digital files, so they can. I typically print them out, something nice, and frame it and send it to them.
Yeah.
One neat example of the rendering process. I'm going to try and do this not too awkwardly. I'm afraid I'm failing.
Well, that's okay. You're doing
fine. You can
fine.
see this one.
Kind of
here.
a 3-view with a little bit of interior as well.
But if you look at it, the color two-tone is reversed.
Oh, yes, I see that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was one way we used the rendering process to decide on what we liked.
Make the final choice.
And then this was the final set of renderings with interior and the color design that we chose.
That truck was breathtaking.
Well, and that picture right there is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that truck. And we were so glad you brought it out to Guitars and Cars and gave everybody a chance to look at it before it went to SEMA. We really appreciate that. It sounded pretty awesome, too.
It was fun. We had no idea that truck was going to get elevated to the position it did, but boy, are we happy it did.
Yeah. No.
And has that brought you some additional awareness in the industry and some more business?
I'd say a little bit. It's hard to measure that kind of stuff. At this, I hate to put it this way, it sounds egotistical, but at this level of building vehicles, there's not a whole lot of customers that can or are willing to spend the cubic dollars these things demand.
That's the perfect way to put it, because we know it is cubic dollars.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Plus the time. I mean,
a little bit perhaps.
Yeah,
It's
it takes a
not
while.
something that I noticed the phone wasn't ringing Monday morning after SEMA. I'll just put it that way. It's just slowly you build credibility, and this is how you do it.
Well, you've done a fantastic job. We're your biggest fans, and we love all the stuff that you do. Everything is stunningly beautiful, and we really appreciate our friendship with you. And tell Jen we said hi.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Randy.
All right, guys.
Be safe.
Okay, Randy Borchening with Paint House on the line with us. It's quite a place. I didn't know it was as big as it was.
I didn't realize it was that big either.
But you always have these visions in your mind about, well, get a couple of cars in there at a time, maybe or not.
He talks about just being a garage in the back of his house.
Yeah, just a little small shop. Yeah,
he's got 15 cars in there.
Exactly. All right, coming up next, it's Conrad's Car Clinic. And we invite you to stay in touch with us all week long by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and through InWheelTime.com. Thanks for joining us here on the In Wheel Time Car Show.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, it's the In Wheel Time radio. I'm sorry, it's not radio. It's the In Wheel Time Car Show. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Everybody wants to go to a car show, and we're the one that's out.
Yeah, that's it. We're there for you.
That's right.
And we're going to get back out on the road when we can get back out on the road. This is Houston's most in-depth car show, In Wheel Time. Streaming right now on Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, InWheelTime.com, and all those other things that you see is behind right there. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. And today we're going to talk about oil viscosity. And this is actually a story that I posted on your Facebook page.
From Hagerty.
From Hagerty, yeah.
On the Hagerty Insurance newsletter.
And I thought it was fascinating enough to send it to you to see whether it was worthy enough to make our show.
Oh, no, definitely it was. You know, we're now seeing these low viscosity oils, and one of the questions are, how good are these oils for a vehicle that you want to keep for a long time?
It's like sewing machine oil.
Well, there is a 020 oil out there that's actually quite popular, and then there's another. Most of the 020s are full synthetic. There's also a 520 that is a synthetic blend. So you have to understand, first off, is the numbers of engine oil. So a 0W20 oil. 0 is the viscosity of the oil, and W means winter. 20 means the viscosity of the oil at operating temperature. So, and it sounds odd, but they do this with viscosity modifiers. When the oil is colder, it's thinner. When the oil warms up, it gets thicker. Now,
what did you just say? Run it by me again.
When the oil viscosity is
when it gets hotter,
it gets thicker.
Really?
Yeah. Well, viscosity in itself is a liquid's resistance to flow. People understand it as thinner and thicker, but it's a resistance to flow. So a 0W oil in cold temperatures is a thinner oil than a 20 oil is once it reaches operating temperature. And they do that through viscosity modifiers. And if you kind of wondered what a viscosity modifier is, you know the old New Year's Eve party favors that, you blow in it and it extends out and flaps and makes the noise, kind of like a snail
I'm
extending
very
out.
well aware of that one.
So that is, if you looked microscopically at a viscosity modifier, that's kind of what it looks like. So it retracts itself into a ball when it's cold, and it makes the fluid less resistant to flow, and then when it warms up, it extends itself and it makes the fluid more resistant to flow. So it changes the viscosity of the oil just through the technology available. And that's, pretty much everything is multi-viscosity oils right now. But one of the things that's out there as well is there is a 016 oil that's spec'd in a Honda product, which is super thin oil. So one of the questions is, there's a lot of differing opinions about the longevity of these 0 weight and 20 and 16 weight oils, and how does that affect the lubrication and the long-term durability of the engine. Really, it doesn't at all. You need to, and I say this all the time, you need to use whatever spec'd oil your manufacturer calls for.
Why?
Because that's what they built the vehicle on.
The engineers looked at it and said, this is what will function best.
Correct.
Even though that it's a 50-year-old vehicle, and back in then it was then
it would have been a
10W40 or whatever.
1040, 20,
so you
50.
stay with that.
Stay with that. There's really no reason to change the viscosity in your oil. You can kind of move around a little bit. It's not really going to hurt anything. But if your car was spec'd for 020, stay with 020. The thing I argue about is all of these manufacturers have switched to these long duration oil change intervals. So, they're saying use a 020 oil and 10 or 15,000 mile change interval is okay. I totally argue with that, and I argued with that when I was with General Motors as well, and many times we're told to sit down and shut up. And
you're still being told that.
I know. But,
I'll tell you that right now.
But sometimes that oil life interval is driven by the marketing department, not the engineering department, because they want to advertise we are a low cost of ownership car. So in 24,000 miles, you only have to change your oil.
Are you kidding
twice.
me?
Oh no, that's very, very true.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm a firm believer in a oil that is a synthetic blend to change on the 5,000 to 6,000 mile interval, on an oil that is a full synthetic. Changing on the 6,000 to 7,000 mile interval is fine as long as you're using a quality oil, and you need to use the spec oil that it calls for, and especially in these low viscosity oils. The other thing you need to do is you need to let your engine come up to temperature before you beat on it. When you look at a lot of these turbocharged engines, that are running this low viscosity oil, if you fire the car up and you take off out of the driveway and you're beating on it already, the oil is still cold, so it's still at that 0 viscosity winter weight if it's cold outside. Once it comes up to temperature and the viscosity modifiers change their shape, then the oil gets thicker and it does a better job of protecting. So you really need to let your engine oil come up to temperature before you start hammering.
How long would
on
that be, sir? Depending on the temperature, I guess.
It depends on the ambient temperature. I'd say here in Houston, 3 to 5 minutes is probably more than enough.
And I heard somewhere that somebody said, "Oh no, start it up, drive it right away."
Well,
why? Why would they say that?
I really don't know.
Does it have something to do with
start it up and drive it is fine, but start it up and hammer it is not.
Oh well. Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yes.
Well, there's a difference in some people.
Conrad, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The question is, you've got the different ratings, the zeros up to 5s and 10s. Different manufacturers have different requirements or different things. You've got imports that are closer to the 0 versus some of the Euros are in 5s and some of the Americans are in the 520s, 530s. Is this the case?
Oh, very much so. You're looking at, like I said, Honda has a 016 oil out that is spec for some of their cars. Most of the domestic manufacturers have gone to a 520, 020 or a 520, trying to get more fuel economy. The lower the viscosity number, typically the second number of the viscosity, the better fuel economy the vehicle is going to get. Microscopically, but it adds up over a period of time. When you look at a lot of the European stuff, a lot of the Porsche, Audi, and especially as you get into the M and AMG engines, you're talking 1040, and like a Harley Davidson takes a 2050 oil in it. So that viscosity changes again based on the manufacturer's specification, and you need to use the manufacturer's spec oil for your vehicle. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Are we done?
Yeah. You gave me the roll of the finger, so I'm done.
You might want to rephrase that because I know
once
that
I start talking, I just
know
go
that
on
it was
forever.
below the table, so people couldn't actually see me do that. I'll do it up here but
That means
I
hurry up
gave
and get
you the
finished.
finger just doesn't quite ring right. So there's that. All right.
Goes with the territory.
I guess so. Well, that's it for this half hour. We've got our guest, Mr. John Gray, waiting online, and we're going to talk about car finishes. That's coming up next. And matter of fact, we're just going to start it right now. Is that okay with everybody?
I think we should.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It is In Wheel Time, your weekly award-winning live car talk show here on this Saturday. Coming up, we're going
April the 18th.
Yeah, well, there's that. We're going to talk to John Gray, Gulf Coast Auto Shield. We have our Jeep Trails feature. We got that coming up this hour. We got more stories making automotive news headlines. It's all just ahead on today's live broadcast. Now, if it's not Saturday between the hours of 12 and noon Central Time, and you're watching this show afterwards, then chances are it's recorded and it's playing back, and you're just now catching on. But we're on live noon to 2 on Saturday. Did any of that make any sense to anybody?
And once you cleared up, it wasn't between 12 and noon. It was actually between 12 and 2. It makes perfect sense now because
12.
we are on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on Periscope Live.
Ooh.
And then you can find us on all three of those later if you need a replay.
Well, and on my Facebook, because I am a friend of the shows, on my own personal Facebook page, that it pops up and appears at odd times in my feed of things that
different people make comments, and enough the right thing, it makes it pop back up so that you can see the new
rhyme
stuff.
or reason to me, but at any rate. So joining us now live via our Zoom feed is John Gray. Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Don. How are you?
Well, good. It's good to see you. I like the way you're kind of looking down at us, and I like that car behind you back there. It's kind of ominous, though, the look that you've got, but I like it. It's good. So how have you been? Have you been good? Busy over there still?
Yeah, I'm. It's really surprising how busy we've been. I wouldn't say that I've had cars like lined down the side of my building to store them, to wait to work on them. But, the most important thing right now is that I hang on to all my people and make sure everybody gets paid and taken care of and benefits and all that kind of stuff. So I would say that we're doing exceptionally well. Next week looks like it's going to be really close to what I would call a normal week as far as the amount of business we have coming in. So,
well, congratulations.
I think we're really, really fortunate.
Well, you've got a great product over there, and when I say product, I mean that not only in the mechanical sense of it because of the ceramic coatings that you put on car paint jobs, but what you do outside of that, and it runs the whole gamut. I mean, this guy does stereo installations, he does window tint, paint correction,
paint film,
all of that stuff, and you do a great job, and you've become known in the city as far as doing a great job, and you have repeat customers. I know I'm one of them, And we appreciate everything that you do. So what's new on the calendar over there at Gulf Coast Auto Shield?
Well, we got some pretty cool cars if you want to kind of take a walk around.
I do,
the
yeah.
shop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's go for a walk. Show us what you got in the shop.
All right, we're going to start outside first.
Okay.
What's the progress while we're walking outside? What's the progress on that Lotus you've had there for a while?
Oh, that's long gone.
Oh, okay. Well,
thankfully.
Just the Lotus. Kick the Lotus out.
Let me
What
switch
the
this
heck?
camera around here.
Well, there you go. There it is.
There it
Guys,
is.
this right here that is the new Tesla Model Y.
Why?
why?
It's a Y job.
Well, let me take a look around. You can kind of see better from the back. It is like so that car is kind of like a
Sport hatch.
a smaller Model X. Yeah, it's based off the Model 3, and if you get inside it and look, it's got inside is very similar. It's just got larger storage areas, and man, I think this car is going to be their biggest hit, to be honest with you.
Why do you say that?
Because I think so because just the number one, the cost of it. Number two, it's got a lot of utility. The back end has got quite a bit of storage, and Tesla people are really, really excited. I've already had a couple Model 3 clients who bought Model 3s last year trade up to get one of these. Now, there's not many on the road yet, but you're going to start to see these pretty regular.
Well, you seem to have a pretty good connection with the Tesla community because usually every time I've been to your shop, you've always had one or two of them in process as well.
Yeah, we've got a good relationship. And they're all really fanatical about keeping their cars. So they're we get good business out of them. This is a new Mustang GT, and this car was all white. We made the mirrors and did a black roof on it for them, and put some window tint on it that high heat rejection film. Actually tinted his windshield too. But it looks a lot better with that black roof on it.
It does. It really does. Yes, it looks
nice
like glass up there.
It adds a lot to the car, and thankfully this car will be going out of here a little bit later on today. Well, we'll walk back inside.
Yeah, all the Northside Mustang Club members who are watching right now are going ooh and ah over that. They'd probably go ooh and ah over your GT350 as well.
I sold that.
Oh, gosh, I'm just so behind the times. There's no Lotus. There's
So
no
wait a minute. So
GT350.
you sold the 350. Do you have a 500 on order now?
It's my smoking hot wife.
Yeah, that is your smoking hot wife. Tell her I said hi. I guess I
Don
just
says
did.
hi.
Yeah.
She says hi, Don. So
my smoking
this is
hot
a,
wife.
I'm going to use
Oh my
that
God!
line.
Look at that.
That'll work.
Is that a Rolls Royce you got in there?
yeah, so this is a new Phantom. This is quite a car, man. It's the cool thing. One of the cool things about this car, obviously, it's incredibly expensive. We're doing a full front paint protection job on this car and ceramic coating on all the rest of it. And we did window tint on it. Let me see if we can capture this on the inside of it.
Boy,
Let me find a key.
Yeah, the key is good.
So what's the deal with the hood? Is that
a factory flat
It is.
silver?
It is. And the cool thing is we'll have a film that we can put on that maintains that look compared to the rest of the paint.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. So check out this roof on this car.
Oh, I know what you're going to show us. This is the
my gosh,
the starlights.
The stars at
Have
night.
you seen that?
Yeah, they do. I believe they do it with fiber optics, don't they?
It is fiber optics.
That's pretty cool.
So it is pretty cool.
I think that's a new venture for you that you ought to offer, is putting in a Starlight fiber optic inside headliner in there.
Yeah.
That's what you ought to offer that.
And you can start on Don's
Well,
Corvette.
Yeah.
Hey, that
would last?
Is this one of the Rolls Royce that has the umbrella built into the door? When you open up the door, the umbrella's in the door jamb area.
Yes. Let me see. I think the umbrellas are not in here right now. Let me take a look.
I always thought that was so cool. I guess it just rains that much in Great Britain.
Oh, they just kind of slide in
that
there.
they have a hole for your umbrella.
There it is.
That's where they go.
Is that
Yep.
amazing?
Yep.
Yeah, and
then
that's
we've got,
that's a $250,000 plus, isn't it?
Yep. For the car, it's $550.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I underestimated it by $300,000.
Check
Got you a
out-
hot
check out
rod
this-
Escalade.
Yeah,
This is a turd. This is a total turd right here. Total
It's a turd.
redneck mobile, train horn, crazy stereo, everything that you would that you think you'd find in this one, you're gonna find it.
I like
But
it.
it's in your shop and you're making it nice.
That's right, and that's a pretty cool. That's that new Chevy RST. It's kind of a neat truck.
It's
I like it
got
pretty
it's
good.
got a very strange front bumper on it that has some sort of air inlets that go right past the wheel. Jeff and I were
Yeah,
looking
I
at it the
know.
other morning, and we don't understand it. Why? I guess just to cut down on the size of the front end going through the wind resistance. We couldn't
Yeah.
figure out another reason.
I don't know. I don't know if I like it. It's okay. All painted up on the front. I think it's better than having a bunch of chrome out there.
Yeah,
yeah. There's that.
Absolutely.
So
And
what's the
this is-
Porsche?
This is a new Discovery Sport that we're doing window tint on, and that's Alex over there cutting window tint. Say
Hi, Alex. And he goes, "Don't bother me. I have a knife in my hand."
That's right. And so this car is okay. Let's see. This is a couple years old. This F-250 or F-150. So we did a bunch of paint correction on this truck.
It looks like it
And,
just pulled out of the wet
it looks,
shop.
Yeah, it looks brand new, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The black is
It
so
looks
hard.
It looks pretty good. This car, I really like this car. Now I'm not much of a BMW guy, but this is the M2, and this guy did a European delivery and then had it shipped over to Atlanta and then drove it here and had some family here. And then what he was going to do was leave it here while he went to Seattle for a couple of weeks and then drive it back. Well, he got caught up with the
COVID,
with the quarantine in Seattle, and this car has been here for 2 months now.
Oh my
geez.
gosh.
Got a storage
Yeah,
fee
and-
building up on it?
No, I'm not going to do that to him.
He's got enough troubles. Well,
But we got him pretty good on the rest of it. So
yeah, we do.
I got to be nice to him.
We got him pretty good. That's one way of looking at it. Here's the invoice. We got you.
We do.
Man,
we do.
I'm not going to pile on him. I
Yeah.
can't pile on him. You know,
No reason
that's
to.
not what we do.
We do
Hey, guys,
business with a couple of BMW stores and going out and in the shop talking to them, especially the BMW of the Woodlands. Their technicians would take an M2 over any other car that they sell. They love that car for its handling and performance.
I always benchmark the 911. How does it feel against the 911?
Mm-hmm.
This is the one. Everything else BMW makes feels too big. This car reminds me of the old M3s. It's just perfect.
Speaking of
And this is the
911.
This is the new Cayman GT4. So
Oh.
it's been 4 years since we had a Cayman GT4, and man, is this a cool car. This would be something I would really want if I could actually get in it and feel comfortable. But it's just I'm about 2 inches too tall for it. But it is a great car.
Beautiful color.
Yeah, I love that indigo blue.
Beautiful color.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
And
the
this-
yellow calipers really make it pop as well.
Yeah, this car has got the ceramic brakes on it, and I mean it's the carbon fiber racing seats, and it is absolutely spot on the way the guy spec'd it out.
Yeah,
Nice.
And,
And these
people with
these
ceramic.
turned
Go ahead.
These turned out a little bit better than I thought they were going to.
Oh, got a new vet.
That is the new C8 Corvette, and
What are your thoughts on that?
I kind of like it.
Kind of
Kinda
like
it.
it. I like it a lot. Ooh, look at that interior. Jeez.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it really is. It's a nice car. Way too small.
I was going to say, John, how do you fit in it? I mean, how well do you?
I don't. I wouldn't even drive one off the property to deliver it. If I'd do it in a trailer.
Just too hard to
Because
get
you're
in,
that
huh?
cramped in it.
Yep.
Boy, that's
And,
sharp looking, though.
That is gorgeous.
It's pretty. So we took these wheels. So we did a full front clear bra on this car, or XPEL PPF, and then we're doing paint correction on all of the rest of it, window tint, and then the wheels came with a like a chrome or a silver
Edge.
edge on it. So we sent them out and had them painted red to match the calipers.
Oh, cool.
How was the original paint job on that car when you got it?
Considering you're doing a paint correction on a brand new car.
Well, you got to do it on all of them because as soon as they're washed, they get scratched.
Right.
Clear
So
coat is
how is the paint job from the factory?
not bad. It's not too bad. It's okay. It's
better.
on par.
It's better
or
than
better.
Yeah, it's better than vets in the past. Then.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so.
And black is such a telling color for the quality of paint. Up there we go.
All right, this is mine, Conrad.
Wait a minute. I thought that we
All right.
sold this car.
Well, he sold the blue one with the silver stripes. I guess he got a white one with blue stripes.
Okay, this is a what's called a GT350 heritage car, and it is Wimbledon white with Guardsman blue stripes. And
Reminiscent
they're
of
going to make.
reminiscent of the 65s.
That's right, and they're planning to make 150 of them, and I got lucky and I got one.
Nice.
And,
Very good.
Nice,
it is
nice to be
just
connected, isn't it?
Each car is numbered on the dash, and it is absolutely fantastic the way it looks. I absolutely love it.
It's beautiful.
It really is.
Again,
and we actually did full car PPF on this one. So, and that's Sergio. Everybody say hi, Sergio.
Hi, Sergio.
Hi, Sergio.
So that's my that's Sergio. He does a lot of our paint protection film. He's exceptionally talented guy, and that's kind of the tour of the shop as to what we got going on right now. So
Wow.
it is busy, and we have, in addition to all this that's in here, I guess 4 to 5 more cars coming in this week. So
very good.
Like I said, we've been really fortunate.
Well, by the way, if you're looking for your wife, your smoking hot wife is on her way over here to see me. So I just wanted to throw that out there at you.
Always stay 1 minute too long.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, John, what do you recommend using to keep surfaces on Corvettes like Don's when they're kept outside like that? Do you have any recommendation outside of the paint correction and ceramic coating?
Well, if you're not going to do ceramic coating, keep a polymer sealant on your car, and just if it stops beating, it's not working anymore. We don't do a lot of that stuff here at the shop. Most of everything that we do is ceramic coating, because there's really nothing else out there from a liquid protection side that's going to stop etching and bird poop stains and all that kind of stuff that you can get here in Houston.
Hey, by the way, I have to interrupt and say that I have seen this past week some new stuff that Turtle Wax of all people is promoting. It's called ceramic, and I don't know what it is, but I'd not seen that line before.
Well, yes, it seems like every manufacturer now, no matter what line of the business they're in, has got their own ceramic coating, and most of these coatings are going to have a lot of silica in it. They feel good. They're very hydrophobic for a period of time, but and is that better than nothing? Yeah, I'd use that before I'd use wax or a polymer sealant for sure. But it's not anything close to what you can get on a professional level like what we do.
Right.
With we've got coatings that we you can lightly scratch and they will reflow its own top coat with heat. So but is it better than nothing? Yeah, it absolutely is, and it's not like it's bad stuff, but I would say that it does the job, and if you're a do-it-yourselfer, it's not a bad thing to get.
But the key to a real quality job is the paint correction to start, and then the skill of the applicator, the person that's actually putting the product on the vehicle, and that's something you won't get real good at buying it at the parts store. You need to go to a professional to get that done.
The prep, Conrad, is the most important thing. I could probably teach somebody to put a ceramic coat on in a day or two, but it would take a long time to teach somebody to do a good paint correction and prep a car the way that you'd want to prep before you kind of locked it in with a ceramic coating.
John, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for giving us a tour of the shop. We really appreciate it. And it
was fun.
Yeah, it was fun, and we really appreciate it, and I know that our viewers do too. And we hope to talk to you again soon. We haven't had you in the studio in quite some time, so that's coming up as soon as we can all get back together again.
In Studio A.
In Studio A. You'll be ready, I know.
Well, guys, thank y'all, and y'all stay safe. And if you need something, please call me.
What's the number?
832-264-0670. Gulf Coast Auto Shield.
You got it. John, thanks again. We'll talk to you again soon. John Gray with
Thanks,
Gulf
boys.
Coast Auto Shield. All right. We have got more of the In Wheel Time radio program coming up right after this.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
In Wheel Time. That's us. Wow. An hour and 50 minutes has gone by. We've got 10 minutes left of the show. We really appreciate you stopping by and joining us today on our every Saturday coffee clutch.
Coffee clutch.
Remember that term?
I remember that, but I don't remember
Yeah,
why.
but a millennial wouldn't understand that because they don't know what a clutch is.
That's very true.
Oh my God. You're right. I think that my mother went to a coffee clutch. And it's basically a bunch of women sit around on the couch, have coffee, and chat. And complain about their husbands. Hello. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, give a couple of shout-outs to Mark Ellison, who is in South Carolina that's watching us, Jacob Flarida, who is up in Conroe watching us as well.
Oh, well, thank you all very much. We appreciate you tuning in. I don't think it's called that. Thanks for
joining us.
Clicking on.
And George Edward Skelton's got some great comments on Facebook. Not all of them we can put on out verbally.
George, love you. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
George, we need to talk.
George and I go back. George, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we go back to grade school, if I'm not mistaken.
Don, you're still in grade school.
I didn't graduate, I can tell you that.
There you go.
I think we all have our sixth grade mentality.
We do have our moments, don't we?
Yes.
So what we would do here is that I would do some more news because I have more news to do, unless you had something. Jeep. Oh, Jeep Trails. You know, it's our weekly feature, and we talk about what's going on with Jeep and for the Jeep enthusiasts. So let's do that, shall we?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're, particularly in the last week or two, that we've been learning about is connectivity, technology, and all kinds of things. So what has happened is SiriusXM Guardian has gotten hooked up with Uconnect app. So when you go in and get this on your Jeep, we were looking at the Grand Cherokee whenever I found this, you can actually use those two items, put them together so that on your phone, you can actually remote start your vehicle from your phone. And if you've got your air conditioner and heater set, then you're going to heat up and cool your vehicle the way you want it before you ever get in it. And if you're in a big parking lot or at a football game or something with about 100,000 of your friends, then you need to find your vehicle. It's got a finder that you can use there as well. But one of the real cool things is you can actually pull up a vehicle health report. And that's basically, again, this is Uconnect working with Sirius Guardian to put both of them together. And then if you're getting ready to go, you got a hot date or something like that you want to do, you look up on your phone, you figure out this is where I want to go to dinner, and this is where how I'm going to get there. Well, then you can send that to your vehicle so that when you get in your vehicle and you pull it up, it's there on your app and your directions, and Uconnect's got it, and it's all ready to go. And, of course, it'll also tie into the SOS call if you have an emergency, and you, for whatever reason, you can use that app just like you would your Uconnect on your screen. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. I like all those things.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah. We thought we'd start a new feature. I asked We talked about this. We're gonna really do this.
We did it last week too.
I know, and it worked out pretty well.
Once a week's about all I can stand.
No, why do you say that?
Anyhow, let's
I'm getting
get
old.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this week in history, and Conrad puts this together for us.
So April 17th of 1964, the big thing that happened was Ford introduced the Mustang, and it introduced it at the New York World's Fair. As it introduced the 64 and a half is what people call
Right,
it, Mustang, at the New York World's Fair. They also delivered Mustangs, and that was their first day for delivery worldwide, well, United States wide. I was at the 1964 New York World's Fair.
Are you serious?
Honest Injun, I was. My mom and dad brought the whole family to the. Now we couldn't go in to the Mustang building because my mom worked for General Motors at the time. But we walked past the Mustang display, and I was.
Where was it? Where was it?
Flushing Meadows, New York. The area it's at is where the U.S. Tennis Center is right now in Flushing, New York. So it's in Queens of New York City. Kind of a little bit across a couple of the rivers, but now it was called Flushing Meadows, New York, and now it's where the whole USTA tennis tournament, U.S. Open tennis tournament happens.
So that the property was repurposed.
Correct. Still a few of the icons of the World's Fair are still there. The globe and stuff are still there, but the
the globe's still there.
The globe is still there. And but on that day in 1964, Ford sold 22,000 Mustangs when they first delivered the vehicle.
On that day.
On that day, they sold 22,000 Mustangs.
That's pretty stout. Brand new vehicle.
Also, in 1924, this week, Rand McNally released its first comprehensive road atlas and those maps, those foldable maps. Once you got them unfolded, you can never refold them. So that was a bit of automotive history. In 1931, Dan Gurney was born this week, and he was the All-American race driver from Port Jefferson, New York. He was the first driver to win races in Formula One, NASCAR, and IndyCar, and was followed by Mario Andretti and by Juan Pablo Montoya, but Gurney was the first one. And then this week, specifically in 2020, was the passing of British Formula One icon Stirling Moss. And one of the cool things about Stirling Moss was he preferred to drive British race cars, stating, "It is better to lose honorably in a British car than to win in a foreign one."
All right. Well, there you have it. That's fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
Cool little stories.
Yes.
Lots of bits and pieces.
Yeah. So I've made myself a note, like I do everything, to be sure and put that in this little rundown that I go to.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, if you're just joining us, this may or may not be our last show here because we are prepping as we speak Studio A, and it's out.
I thought it was C.
It's
A,
Studio
G, garage.
Studio A, and thank you, Jeff, for all of Jeff Zekin's help. Yesterday, he and I worked 5.5 hours out there.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Still have another bunch of hours to go before we get out there, but we're in the process of moving it. This is kind of our little temporary home in the meantime.
Do you guys measure time by beer consumption?
No,
actually, we did not consume any type of alcohol until almost the very end, when we were dragging ourselves out of Studio A. And Studio A has a reference to Studio Armstrong, first initials. That is what we came up with after we had a beer.
And the funny connection about Studio A is, and David Ainsley, our chief engineer, knows this, back in David Ainsley, that we actually had at KPRC Radio back when we were there together, we had a Studio A, B, and C. And it's kind of fitting and, a little tribute to back in the old days. And there was other things that happened in Studio A as well. And that's...
Oh, they're going to happen, all right.
And that's kind of where the came from. So
hey, I want to give a shout out to Larry Roca. He was the guy who helped coach me on buying the Rally 350. Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Oh, good. All right. Well, as you can tell by the music, we're going to wrap up today's program as they cheer back in the back room. Yeah, so there's that. And not only that, but that's all I have. I've run out of things. See, it says here, close.
We'll be back next week.
Yes.
With more of In Wheel Time. See?
That is it today for the In Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive. And while you're online, you'll want to sign up for our feeds on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and all those other social media sites you see back here on our sign. Our website is inwheeltime.com, and it is there that you can download our show podcasts. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer, as I mentioned, the fabulous David Ainsley. For Mike Out of This World, Mars, and King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Thank you, Jeff Zekin, and thank you for following In Wheel Time. Please tell your car friends about us, share our posts, and encourage your friends and family to join all of us. Have a great week and stay cool like you know you are. We'll see you online next Saturday, noon to 2. Have a great week.